Just found out my wife cheated after 21 years of marriage. Don't know what to do next. I haven't been able to sleep at night for the last 3 days since I've been sick. Please be patient with me since I'm not a frequent user of social media. Thank you for your understanding. My wife, 46 years old, and I, 48 years old, have been married for 21 years and have been together for 23 years. We have 2 children and 3 grandchildren. A 22-year-old child lives with us in the same home as we do. In recent months, my wife and I have been dealing with a number of challenges, and she has shown little affection or connection toward me and my family throughout this time. My work schedule has forced me to try to make things better by taking time off and making an extra effort to engage with her, give back rubs, hug her, and show her affection. But she has only become more distant, eventually rejecting my advances the last couple of times I attempted to initiate contact with her. It's important to note that over the first 2 decades of our marriage, she has never refused to engage in any kind of intimacy with me, even when I asked her to. Also, she never takes her phone out of her pocket and always keeps it disguised in her apparel, which has piqued my interest. The fact that she had been phoning and texting numbers that I didn't recognize for a long length of time made me feel uncomfortable, and it took me a long time to be bold enough to check the phone bill. There is a tremendous backlog of communication that has been received at all hours of the day and night, even while on vacation. Some of the correspondence dates back to the previous year. Seeing this made me immediately realize that something wasn't quite right, and I worked up the guts to approach her and tell her what I had seen. She said that the bond was completely emotional, with no physical touch other than verbal flirtation and flirtatious exchanges between the 2 of them. It seems as if this guy comes into her office on a regular basis, despite the fact that I've never met him in person before. Despite the fact that I was depressed, I couldn't shake the nagging feeling that there was something more to it, so I looked into it more. After completing a thorough investigation, it was determined that he seems to be using a number of different phone numbers to carry out his activities. Using the information I had, I was able to determine his identification, social media accounts, occupation, assistant veterinarian, and a few other details about him and his behavior. She first resisted my approach based on the information I had gathered, and it was only after I threatened to go public with my findings that she ultimately admitted that she and another man had been engaged in a relationship with one another for a lengthy period of time, at least 6 months. Her claim was that she had only had physical contact with him once, but when I pressed her for further information, she couldn't tell me when it had occurred or where she had been at the time. Right. It's hard for me to believe that it happened just once after she's been gaslighting me and lying to my face for so many years. Oh, my God, what a jerk I've been all these years. I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed by my actions. I can't do business with them due of the language barrier on a number of levels. Our marriage was beautiful for a long time, and I thought it was perfect for our children. But who knows how long she has been interfering in our lives and relationships. I informed her that we needed to end our marriage since she had admitted to having relations with him when she was questioned a few days after the affair was discovered. As a result of our agreement, we decided to separate and focus on ourselves. Because we don't have any little children and we don't have any significant assets, she's had major medical problems, so we sold everything we'd worked so hard for to pay for doctors and treatment. Our situation is easy, and the divorce process is straightforward in our instance. This has been agreed in exchange for her permission to depart this week. She is looking forward to staying with a single friend who has children and sleeping on her couch. As a result, she says, the new guy has 4 roommates, and she will not be living with him. Nevertheless, I no longer trust her and have begun to have my doubts about her assertions. All of the things I've done so far have left me completely befuddled as to what I should do next. The betrayal has caused me a great deal of agony and heartache since we've been together for virtually all of our adult life, and I'm in an utter and complete state of breakdown as a result. We have reached a point where we are no longer able to work together to settle our issues, and the possibility of our divorce makes me quite depressed. No going back now, I'm afraid, since we've crossed a line. The fact that I'm extremely close to my kid, who is devastated by the fact that his mother has been cheating on him, does not change the fact that he obviously loves and respects his mother. A little advice in this area would be really valuable to me at this point in my life. In the end, all I want to do is blow up this whole situation in the face of our family and friends, and explain why we've chosen to terminate our relationship with one another. Because he is a lovely guy, apart from his proclivity for ruining marriages in his leisure time, His life may be ruined if I go public with everything, and his wife has begged with me not to because he is likely to lose his career and his family if I do. I'm thinking of notifying people in his circle of friends and family about what's going on with him, given that he's utterly wrecked my marriage and my life. What my daughter wants is for me to just cease doing things with her without making a huge fuss out of it, which I understand and agree with completely. He feels that if I make public discoveries about their infidelity, I am reducing myself to their level. Nevertheless, this has hurt my heart as well as our marriage, and I am growing more outraged as a result of this. Is it okay for me to express my thoughts towards them in public? Possibly someone could provide me with some guidance on how I should go about tackling this problem. Otherwise, are there any resources that you recommend I consider using in order to aid me in fixing this issue? In fact, I'm not sure I'll ever be able to place my trust in another human being ever again. Firstly, please accept my apologies for the long and meandering nature of this blog entry. To be quite honest, I'm feeling a bit out of sorts at the moment. Please accept my sincere appreciation in advance for your time and effort. Edit 1. Thank you to everyone who has offered words of encouragement and wisdom. My kid is my first and most important issue at the moment, because he had just ended his relationship with his first love, who had cheated on him. The time is inconvenient for both parties. However, much though I would want to agree to his wishes, I have determined to warn our close friends and family. This will enrage my son, but after this treachery, I am not going to allow her the choice to just bury her deeds and brush them under, as she has done in the past. Similarly, I find myself feeling the need to publicly humiliate my wife in order to retain some kind of self-respect, and it's a lesson I hope my kid will take away from this experience. Nothing he or I could ever do would ever be enough to make up for this betrayal of our family's faith in one another. I asked her politely if she would mind just packing her belongings and leaving. She consented and said that she would leave the next day. Furthermore, we're just filing a joint petition for divorce. We have no assets other than some medical bills, which we will split equally, so there isn't much else to argue about at this time in our relationship. Alimony and child support will not be awarded to either party in connection with the divorce. The divorce papers are complete and notarized, and they will be filed on Monday, if all goes well. Edit 2. Having received a number of enraged private messages, I booted her out of the home 6 days ago and informed both of our family and friends of the circumstances surrounding the issue. She is said to be sleeping on the sofa of a friend who is using her address to keep her whereabouts a secret from everyone. As far as I'm concerned, it doesn't really matter to me anymore since I'm just concerned with myself and my immediate family at this time in my life. With my impending relocation to a new apartment in 10 days, I've left my forwarding address with the organization. As a consequence of my attitude to the individual, there is a strong likelihood that I will wind up in prison. Thus, we are focused on the future at this time. Thanks to everyone who left comments or messaged me with warm and encouraging thoughts. I appreciate it very much. Thank you so much for your assistance.